The crystal glass tilted. Red wine splashed across white silk. And in that moment, Victoria Whitmore made the most expensive mistake of her life. 300 of the world's most powerful people watched as wine dripped down Maya Chen's designer gown. Cameras flashed. Victoria's cruel laughter echoed through the ballroom. Everyone expected tears. Maybe anger. Perhaps shame. But Maya Chen didn't move. She didn't cry. She didn't even raise her voice. Because Maya knew something Victoria didn't. Something that would turn this humiliation into the most spectacular corporate takedown in modern history. This is the true story of how one glass of wine destroyed an $8 billion empire. Maya Chen wasn't supposed to be at the Whitmore Foundation gala. In their world of inherited wealth and old money, self-made billionaires were unwelcome disruptions. But Maya had built TitanVentures from nothing. By 38, she controlled one of the most influential investment firms in the world. Her decisions could make or break billion-dollar mergers. That night, she arrived as guest of honor, receiving the Humanitarian Leadership Award. Her white Valentino gown was elegant. Her smile was warm. Her presence commanded respect. She had no idea she was walking into an ambush. The Whitmore family represented everything Maya had fought against. Richard Whitmore had inherited his father's retail empire. $8 billion built on department stores. His younger sister Victoria had never worked a day in her life, yet she wielded social power like a weapon. What neither of them knew was that Maya's firm held the deciding vote on their most important deal in a decade. The Whitmore Retail Group was merging with TechCore Industries. $2.4 billion. The deal would modernize their failing stores and secure the family legacy for another generation. But the merger required approval from multiple investment firms. TitanVentures controlled 40% of the deciding stake. Without Maya's approval, the deal would collapse. Victoria Whitmore was about to pick a fight with the one person who could destroy everything. The ballroom glittered with power. Maya accepted her award with grace, delivering a speech about opportunity that earned genuine applause. As she returned to her table, Victoria Whitmore's voice carried across the room. How inspiring. Another diversity initiative success story. They're everywhere now, aren't they? So fashionable. Her friends tittered nervously. People glanced at Maya, then quickly looked away. Maya heard every word. She'd heard versions of it her entire life. She could have confronted Victoria right then. Could have made a scene. But Maya had learned something Victoria never would. Patience is power. She simply smiled and moved toward the cocktail reception. That's when Victoria decided polite racism wasn't enough. She wanted blood. Maya was at the dessert table when Victoria appeared beside her, wine glass in hand. Maya Chen, Victoria said, false sweetness dripping from every word. That speech was very heartfelt. Tell me, do you ever worry these awards are just performative? Like people are checking boxes? The group around them grew quiet. Maya turned slowly, her face calm. I think genuine achievement speaks for itself, Victoria. But I understand that might be a foreign concept. The crowd gasped softly. No one spoke to Victoria Whitmore like that. Victoria's face flushed red. Her fingers tightened around her glass. Fueled by champagne and entitlement, she made her choice. Oh, how bold, Victoria laughed, stepping closer. You know what your problem is? You're so busy trying to fit in where you don't belong. She lifted her glass and poured. Red wine cascaded down Maya's white gown, splashing across the pristine silk like blood. The ballroom froze. Victoria's laughter shattered the silence. Oops. I'm so sorry. I'm just clumsy after a few drinks. But you understand, don't you? These things happen. Maybe next time stick to gatherings where you're more comfortable. Her friends erupted in giggles. A few people looked uncomfortable, but no one moved. No one spoke up. No one defended Maya Chen. Maya stood perfectly still. Wine dripped from her gown. Her hands didn't shake. Her voice didn't waver. She looked Victoria directly in the eye and smiled. Thank you, Maya said softly, her voice carrying across the silent room. Thank you for showing everyone exactly who you are. Maya reached for a napkin. She dabbed at the wine with the same composure she'd used for a coffee spill. No tears. No screaming. If you'll excuse me, she said clearly, I need to freshen up. She walked toward the bathroom with her head high, heels clicking against marble with perfect rhythm. Not the hurried shuffle of humiliation. The confident stride of someone who knew exactly what came next. Behind her, Victoria basked in triumph. Well, some people just can't handle high society. Her friends laughed harder now. Someone joked about knowing your limits. What Victoria didn't see was the shift happening in the room. Business journalists were typing furiously. Several CEOs exchanged meaningful glances. A venture capitalist leaned over and whispered, "She just made a terrible mistake." Because while Victoria saw a humiliated woman fleeing in shame, people who understood power saw something else entirely. They saw Maya Chen choosing her moment. In the bathroom, Maya's assistant Jessica burst through the door. "I saw everything. We're leaving right now. I'm calling our lawyers." "No." Maya's voice was calm. "We're not leaving. Get me my phone and pull up the Whitmore file. Everything." Jessica's expression shifted from anger to understanding. The TechCore merger. The TechCore merger. Maya had spent 6 weeks reviewing the deal. What she'd found had troubled her. Discrimination complaints buried in settlements. A pattern of promoting only from within their privileged network. Financial projections that ignored changing demographics. She'd been on the fence about approval. Victoria Whitmore had just made her decision very easy. Maya made the first call. "David? Emergency board vote. Tonight. The Whitmore deal. I need everyone on the line in 20 minutes. Second call. Amanda? Maya Chen. I'm about to pull TitanVentures support from the Whitmore merger. The deal is dead. But I want to talk about a better opportunity for TechCore, one that doesn't involve the Whitmore family. Third call. This is Maya Chen. I need to speak to the editorial board. Yes, tonight. I have a story about corporate culture. And I have video evidence." By the time Maya finished, Jessica had returned with a backup dress. Black this time. Armored and elegant. "The board voted unanimously," Jessica reported. 9-0. Deal's dead. Maya allowed herself a small smile. "Then let's go deliver the news." When Maya walked back into the ballroom, the energy had shifted. Word had spread. Phones were out. People were positioning themselves. Maya walked past Victoria without a glance and moved directly to the stage. "Excuse me," Maya said, her voice projecting across the room. "I need a moment." 300 faces turned toward her. "First, I want to thank the Whitmore Foundation for this beautiful evening and this meaningful award," Maya began. "I also want to address what happened earlier, because it wasn't just about me. It was about something much bigger." Victoria's smile faltered. 15 minutes ago, I concluded an emergency board meeting regarding a $2.4 billion merger between Whitmore Retail Group and TechCore Industries. The business journalists' phones came up. After careful consideration and a unanimous vote from my board, TitanVentures has withdrawn all support for this merger. Effective immediately, the deal is dead. The room exploded. Richard Whitmore's face drained of color. He grabbed his sister's arm. No. This decision wasn't made lightly," Maya continued. "For weeks, my team identified concerning patterns. Discrimination complaints. Lack of diverse leadership. A fundamental misunderstanding of the modern consumer. Tonight simply confirmed what our due diligence suggested." Richard pushed through the crowd, face red with panic. "You can't do this. Our stock will collapse." "You have nothing," Maya said calmly. "No contract. No obligation. No deal." She turned back to the crowd. "I don't invest in companies that celebrate cruelty. I don't support organizations that believe humiliation is acceptable. And I don't reward leadership that thinks power means treating people as less than human." Victoria finally found her voice. "This is insane. Over spilled wine? You're destroying billions over hurt feelings." Maya's expression didn't change. "An hour ago, you thought humiliating me had no consequences. You thought your name protected you from accountability. You were wrong." She handed back the microphone and walked off stage. Behind her, the Whitmore family's world collapsed in real time. The next 72 hours were brutal. Whitmore stock dropped 34%. The The TechCore merger was permanently cancelled. The video went viral. 20 million views in 48 hours. Dozens of former employees came forward with stories of discrimination and harassment. Major retailers dropped Whitmore brands. Investors pulled out. The foundation returned the family's donation. Victoria deleted her social media and disappeared. Richard tried damage control, but it was too late. Meanwhile, TitanVentures experienced its best quarter in company history. New clients flooded in. Maya's firm grew by 40%. Maya donated her $50,000 speaking fee to organizations fighting workplace discrimination. 3 months later, a journalist asked, "Do you regret how you handled it? Critics say you were too harsh." Maya's expression was thoughtful. People mistake silence for weakness. They mistake patience for passivity. When Victoria poured that wine, she thought she was putting me in my place. What she didn't understand is that real power isn't about who can humiliate who. It's about who can make decisions that matter. And the Whitmore family? I regret that it took public humiliation to reveal what my due diligence had already shown. But I don't regret my decision. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say no. They're calling it the most expensive glass of wine in corporate history. It wasn't expensive for me, Maya said quietly. It cost me a dress. It cost them everything. A glass of wine, a moment of cruelty, and a reminder that dignity and power aren't opposites, they're partners. Victoria Whitmore thought she was dealing with someone she could push around. Someone who would accept humiliation as the price of entry. She was wrong. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it isn't hot-blooded or impulsive. Sometimes revenge is just justice served ice cold. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. Share it with someone who needs to hear that staying silent doesn't mean staying powerless. Drop a comment telling us about a time you witnessed accountability triumph over privilege. Because stories like Maya's remind us that power without principle is just noise. And dignity without compromise is the ultimate flex. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember, never underestimate someone just because they choose grace over drama. They might be choosing strategy instead.